Bottom of the gardens, just say, I'm not walking up that hill. Then you just wait and they'll come by and pick you up. So find your way to the road. Okay. Actually, the very beginning of the Chinese garden. Our Chinese garden is based on the scholars' gardens of southern China, as opposed to the northern gardens that are more of an imperial kind of thing, more fancy and very dramatic, and lots of relief sculptures coming out of the walls and so forth. So ours, the scholars' gardens, were made by the scholars on their own property, and there is the rest of the garden. You can see it's got walls. They would wall it on their property to kind of separate it from all the irritating things in life they didn't want to deal with. They were very immersed in their culture. They knew all of their myths, their poetry, all of their history, and they worked for the emperor and got sick of all the politics they had put up with during the day. And they needed to come home and refresh themselves, but not just with the beauty of nature, like in the Japanese garden, but with more intellectual concepts as well, based on their culture. And this was kind of like your drive home from work, where you have a place to go to start.
Oh, be careful.
What? I'm getting out of the way.
Yes, but we don't want.
I'll get off that curb. It's not a
we
good
don't
idea.
want to.
So that you would be able to relax and let go of your annoying parts of your day and get ready to go in through your garden. And we'll come up to the rest of the garden.
I was going to push you over.
A walled garden, and the whole garden has the name, the Garden of Flowing Fragrance, which you see written above there. And then you have that curving wall, and that is representing the idea of clouds, called the cloud wall, and the idea of the dragon going up into the clouds and making it rain, which is very cheerful. Dragons are cheerful, and the Asian culture, they're not scary the way they are in Western culture. So they're a little different. There's a ramp right there, if you want to grab that ramp, because we can go on in.
All right.
You'll see lots of windows there. Each window is parallel to the ground at that spot and has a different flower that's been made for it. It's a way of letting you see inside gradually. So it's a kind of gradual way of entering the garden. Every place in the garden, every bridge, every view, every building, every pavilion, they all have names. The scholar would pick the names as references to his favorite parts of the culture, and then kind of make this poetical reference to it by its name. So in the garden, you'll see the names carved somewhere. I'll usually have a rock in turquoise, and then nearby you'll see the translation of it. So it may not mean a lot to us, but it meant layers and layers of things for them. So let's walk through. I want to point out, first of all,
nope, don't go down there.
come through here and then turn left when you can that is the way back to the Japanese garden. That doesn't involve steps. You go straight to the house that way, and then the rest of the things are accessible from ramps. I will take you to the right. Also over here, there's a place to get drinks and little snacks right through this courtyard. I'll take you this direction.
So is this supposed to represent water that we're walking on, kinda? Is that what it's supposed to represent, water?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Supposed to represent water?
Oh, they may. I don't know. That's a very
Well,
good
it said the
question.
quarter of water back there, and I thought, well, maybe that's supposed to represent water.
That totally makes sense. Yeah, if it was a Japanese garden, we would totally have that too. Yes, thank you for pointing that out. That's a good point. You'll find a little further on here, there's a lot of pavings, and the pavings are incredibly beautiful. And each one is different in each area. So in this garden, we have all this water and all these rocks and plants. We have these names that are carved that represent parts of Chinese culture. And to make this, just think of yourself looking at all the favorite parts of your own culture and making them into a garden through references and then naming them. So that's kind of what is involved in this. Part of the job of this garden is to be a microcosm of the universe as well. So you have all this water representing what is feminine and dark and mysterious and always changing. Notice how the building is built out over it slightly, so you can't quite see what happens to that water. You don't know where it's going. And then you have what's male and unchanging, what's clearly seen as the rock. So you have these opposites making up the universe. Let's come up here to the paving.
Not
Okay. Someone needs their lunch. Okay, down here we have a lovely paving. Notice that in the paving, those stones are turned up on their sides. Unlike the way we do it, right? We would lay them flat. But this way, they can massage your feet as you're walking on them. And so it's a healthy garden because that foot reflexology
And you don't
is part
slip.
of Chinese
They're
medicine.
fine.
So
In the Chinese weather, you don't slip.
that's right.
Florida, you really
That's a
feel
good
it.
point. Yes,
Good at
much
getting the
safer.
pressure out.
Yeah.
Now, in our garden, they had to be a smaller scale than they would be traditionally because of wheelchairs and strollers and so forth. So it would be unsafe to have them too big. It might cause a problem. So this is one of the issues we had in building this garden. We had Chinese garden architects come from China to help do the design and also artisans come to lay the rock and so forth and to do these beautiful pavings and the beautiful shingle work on the roofs. So you have these things that had to be compromised on, like the size of the rocks. But that is just one example, and there were many, and it took years and years to get this design because of it. The artisans had to come and arrange the rocks around the river. You'll notice how, well, especially in the bigger ones, it's more clear, how they're arranged in a top-heavy way, which is a little different also than what we would do normally. And that makes it exciting. Something might fall, something might happen. So it's a playful excitement factor to the garden. The walls in ours are white. It's one of the colors of Scholars Gardens because of the way the plants look against the white, like a screen painting. This garden is meant to be like you're walking into a painting and enjoying. So it's kind of pulled back from actual nature in a way. And everything is kept very natural looking, but it's a lot of work as well. Just like the Japanese garden is a lot of work. So there's wonderful Chinese bonsai called penjing. There's lots of courts going up there by those trees. And then, and that's all, there's ramps all the way up there. And then there's also a ramp up over to that pavilion there, which allows you to look out over this whole garden and across the mausoleum where the Huntingtons are buried and over to the mountains, if you can see them there. Very beautiful if you have time. Now, if you go up this way, you will come to the pavilion past this one. The first one's probably not open, but the second one has a wonderful exhibit in there. It's really hard to describe what it is, but someone's painted on silk hangings, and you walk among them, and then there's these wonderful, really ancient sayings around the outside, all these contemplative ideas. And then past that is where the Chinese restaurant is. So you can eat inside or, well, you can only eat outside there. And it's quite lovely by the street if you have time to do that today. So those are your options, or you can walk back with me and I can show you where the Boom Gallery is. If you came for the John Bacardi exhibit today, it's just very close by. When you leave this garden, you'll just, if you head that direction, you'll come to it in the Boom Gallery, which is the Huntington's old garage.